Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Appleblatt and I am the mystery reader for tonight. I'm going to be starting on page 86 and here we go. Some rabbit pairs bond easily and others take a long time to become friends. Here we go. That night I put "Be Yourself and You Got This" back on the windowsill with the rest of my rock collections. I felt I'd failed at both of them. I didn't get school at all, and it didn't even feel possible to be yourself. For tomorrow, I needed something easier, maybe keep doing. That rock came from the top of Mount Katahdin. Dad, Owen, and I climbed that mountain one day, and it was a hard hike at the top. I wanted to give up and sit by the trail side and wait for them to come back down. But Owen said, "Keep going," and I did. Keep going felt like work, though. Don't quit, even if you want to. I wondered how long Mom would make me go to public school before I could change my mind and go back to homeschooling. Lappy hopped over to a sweatshirt I'd left on the floor and dug at it until it was bunched up like a nest. Then he flopped in it. It felt warm and safe to have Lappy here. Like I didn't have to face all these hard things by myself. Mom had said not to get attached to him, but I'd been carrying a hole inside me since Owen went off to school last year, and this little rabbit had jumped right into that hole and made himself at home. I smiled at Lappy, chewing the tag off my sweatshirt. Maybe Papier really had sent me some rabbit magic. Tomorrow, if I got scared or sad, I could think of him waiting for me like my own little furry happy ending. I imagined the people at school as characters in Papier's stories. Miss Hutton would be the beaver, always working hard. Ms. Martell would be a hummingbird, flittering around the classroom. Iris might be a skunk, friendly, but not always. Leah seemed like a pretty deer. And Jack? He was a hard one. Maybe a bobcat hunting by himself? Or a red squirrel chattering about things he liked. Somehow, imagining them as animals made things easier. I tossed "Keep Going" on my bed next to my backpack for tomorrow and settled down to do my homework. In my assignment notebook, our group project was first on my list of things to do. I still felt annoyed that I hadn't had much chance to contribute to my group's idea, but Iris had a point. A video would be easier on the day we presented because the other kids would be watching the screen, not us. Also, we could film more than one take if we messed up. I tapped my pencil on my assignment notebook. We'd probably have to shoot the video outside of class, though. When would we do that? I smiled as an idea formed in my mind. What if I invited my group over my house? Even if we introduced each other in pairs on the video, there was no reason we couldn't film it together. We'd get the project done and the other kids would be in my world instead of me trying to fit into theirs. I could ask Mom to get us some good snacks and they could meet Lappy. Now that Lappy was mine, I could tell the other kids about him. We'd have such a great time that it'd bounce us right over the friendship bump. It was a perfect plan. When I came down to ask Mom about the snacks, Owen was talking to her in the kitchen. If I make the soccer team, Jordan said, I could ride home with him. I'll text you, but if I don't come home on the bus, it's good news. Okay, Mom said, fingers crossed. I'll be anxious to hear all about it. Mom, I'm going to invite my group project kids over, I said. Can you buy some good snacks? Sure, she said. What day are they coming? I hope tomorrow. I was so excited to invite Iris, Leah, and Jack to my house. We'd have fun and they'd all fall in love with Lappy, just like I did. After all, who wouldn't want to spend time with a cute rabbit? He'd be my furry secret weapon. Next chapter. Page 91. When a rabbit stretches toward you with its ears tipped forward, it's curious and wants to share what you're doing. I was determined to make the second day of school better than the first. To keep going, I made a list in my assignment notebook of all the things that would be easier on the second day. By the time I got off the bus, I already had 4 things written down. Easier the second day. Number 1, I know where my room and desk are. Number 2, I know some of the kids' names. Number 3, I brought a bag lunch. Number 4, I have a plan to invite my group to my house. I was so excited about the last one that I didn't even wait until Leah, Iris, and Jack had unpacked their backpacks. So I was thinking about our project. 2 truths and a lie, Jack said. School hasn't started yet, Iris said. Leah nodded. I'm not even awake. I stayed up too late watching baby goat videos. My sister showed me one, and then we just kept clicking on more. That sounds cute, I said, but inside I felt deflated, like when I'm excited to go on a hike and wake up to find it pouring rain outside. Don't worry, I told myself, there will be a right time to talk about the project. To help me learn kids' names, I kept another list in the back of my assignment book and put a star next to any potential best friends. I loaned a pencil to a boy named Matt and sat next to Sarah on the rug for morning meeting. Brandon liked to talk in class, which meant Miss Hutton said his name a lot. So I knew 6 names out of the 22 kids in my class: Leah, Iris, Jack, Matt, Sarah, and Brandon. I didn't want to have extra homework when my group came over, so as the morning went on, I tried to finish everything. Whenever Ms. Martell wanted Jack to move on to the next thing, she made a little circle spinning motion in the air with her index finger. If I caught my mind wandering, I'd secretly do that motion under my desk with my finger. Move on, keep going. When lunch came, I still hadn't had the chance to ask Iris, Leah, and Jack over. But at least I had a plan for the cafeteria. I hoped the bag lunch would help me find a seat faster. The chairs were already filling up. When I walked into the cafeteria, I saw Iris and Leah's group had no extra seat for me. Sarah wasn't at any table yet. Matt had 1 seat open at his table, even though the table was mostly boys. I figured he owed me for loaning him the pencil. Hi, I said, putting my bag lunch down at the seat next to him. I held my breath in case he told me it was taken. Hey, he replied, thanks for the pencil. I smiled. No problem. Time for lunch, I heard behind me. I turned around. Oh, hey, Jack. Today I'm sitting here, okay? Yes. He didn't seem upset, but as he walked away, I felt bad. Jack had been nice to sit with me yesterday. If you had to choose one, would you rather never take a shower again or never brush your teeth? The boy across the table asked Matt. I could just go swimming instead of taking a shower, Matt replied. So I'd keep my toothbrush. Would you rather have smelly feet or smelly breath? Smelly feet, the boy said. It wasn't much of a conversation, but it was one. I was trying to decide what I'd pick when the first boy said, Hey, did you have time to watch that video I sent you about the bugs that live in your pillow? Yes, Matt said. It was disgusting. It reminded me of last year. Remember when Mr. Parton? The other boy laughed and slapped the table. I know exactly what you're going to say. Around me, kids were talking and laughing. I never knew you could be surrounded by so many kids and still feel alone. I tried to stay focused on the boys at my table, but out of the corner of my eye, I could see Leah and Iris were making funny faces at each other and laughing. Sarah was sharing her French fries with another girl. Jack was talking to Dustin and another boy at the back table. When I got back to the classroom, I crossed out, I brought a bag lunch on my easier on the second day list. Today's lunch was just a different kind of hard. In the afternoon, Miss Hutton took us to the school library and told us we were allowed to choose any 2 books to take home. Going to the library was always one of my favorite things to do, and this library was so bright and beautiful. I couldn't believe it was all for kids. Tissue paper tropical fish hung from the skylights, and there was a big terrarium with a real live lizard in it. There were tables with chairs and beanbags, and even some big bowls to sit on at the banks of computers, and so many rows of bookshelves. I took a deep breath of that wonderful book smell, trying to hold in my excitement. After you choose your books, Ms. Hutton said, you can spend the rest of the period reading or working on your 2 truths and a lie presentations. Finally, now it would be the right time to invite the other kids over to my house. I'll save us some seats, I said to Leah, Iris, and Jack. I figured I'd be done choosing books first because I knew what kind of books I wanted and where to find them. I'd spent a lot of time at our small public library and recognized the Dewey Decimal numbers on the nonfiction shelves. I headed for the 630s. This time, I wasn't learning about pet rabbits for a homeschool report, though. Lappy was depending on me, and I wanted to do everything right so Lappy would always love me best. Not like Maggie and Molly, who liked me fine until they had a choice. Then they always picked Mom. I found 2 good books on rabbit care and took them to the desk to sign them out. On my way back, I passed Jack. Hey, after you get your books, meet me at one of the tables by the window, I said. I have a plan. He pulled out the Encyclopedia of Animals from the stacks without even looking at me. Yes. I picked a table with 4 seats and put extra books on the empty chairs to save them for Jack, Iris, and Leah. It felt nice to be the person saving seats for a change. I opened the first rabbit book and began reading the chapter, Understanding Your Rabbit. I had read and taken notes on the whole section before Jack sat next to me. At another table, I could hear Brandon in a fake British accent. Matt and another kid were smiling and laughing at him. Jack opened the Encyclopedia of Animals and showed me the table of contents. Chapter 12 is Lagomorpha, rabbits, hares, and pikas. Never heard of a pika, I said. I'll have to look that up. Jack flipped the pages. I hadn't meant now, but when he swung the book around to show me, the animal was adorable, like a guinea pig with mouse ears. Wow, I said, that's so cute. A pika barks when it's scared, Jack said. Its nickname is Rock Rabbit. It doesn't really look like a rabbit, I said. More like a you wascally wabbit, Jack said in an Elmer Fudd voice. The other kids stopped talking. They glanced sideways, frowning. How come when they talked differently, it was funny, but when Jack did, it wasn't? I guess when you really belong, it's easier to be different. That's funny, I said loudly, like we were joking, and the other kids were wrong if they didn't think so. Pikas collect a vegetation to store underground for the winter, Jack said. They don't hibernate. The other kids were definitely paying attention to us now. I could feel my face getting red, but talking to Jack was like sledding down a steep hill. Once the momentum kicked in, I'd be lucky if I could steer. They live in the mountains and need cool temperatures. As temperatures rise, they have to climb higher. With climate change, hi, I saved you a seat, I waved to Iris and Leah. I knew it was rude to interrupt Jack, but he wasn't stopping on his own, and that was kind of rude too. Maybe Owen's advice to be yourself was really too simple. Maybe there was a point where being completely yourself stopped being a good thing and just became a lonely thing. I moved the extra books off the chairs and waited impatiently while Iris and Leah sat down. So I had a great idea about our project, I said. We can meet at my house this afternoon after school and do the video. We wouldn't be rushed in case we need to do a few takes. Leah gave me an apologetic smile. I'm not sure I can get a ride. My mom and dad are at work. You can take the bus with me, I said. It stops right at the end of our driveway. I'm sure my mom can bring you home after. You can't just take someone else's bus, Iris said. Leah nodded. You have to bring a permission slip from home and give it to the bus office first thing in the morning. Oh, the smile slid off my face. I didn't know that. My mom could probably pick you up and bring you home, I offered. It's too complicated. Let's just work in twos, Iris said. Me and Leah, you and Jack. But it'll look like two things instead of a group project, I said. Don't worry, Emma, Leah said. This is just a little project, not a big deal. It won't even count much toward our grades. Not a big deal? But I wanted them to come to my house. I wanted them to get to know me at home, where it'd be easier to become friends. I wanted to do a good job on the project. I wanted a few things to go my way instead of changing all my ideas. And saying, I want you to meet my pet rabbit would just sound pathetic. I could tell that Leah and Iris were getting frustrated with me, though. Okay, I said quietly. Miss Hutton clapped her hand to get our attention. We have about 5 minutes before we need to go back to the classroom. So come sign out your books if you haven't done so already. Can you come? I asked Jack quietly. He took out his phone. It's just for emergencies. I didn't know if the person he was texting would consider this an actual emergency, but within minutes we had a plan. Jack's mom would bring him to my house today after school. Easier the second day. Number 1, I know where my room and desk are. 2, I know some, cross that off, I know more of the kids' names. Number 3, cross off, I brought a bag lunch, leave on, not actually easier, though I did use the right trash cans. Number 4, cross off, I have a plan to invite my group to my house. Only Jack is coming. Thank you for listening. Have a great night.